Hi guys, I'm Cambro. Welcome to my channel where I'll be talking about Arkham Horror, the card game. So we just got a new expansion, kind of an expansion. We got the Return to Night of the Zealot. So if you don't know what this is, it's a revisit to the core campaign. So we get they changed the scenarios a bit. There's different locations, different enemies, but the story is the same. So they pack it in this super big box where you're supposed to hold the core, and I mean the box is super big. I have it here somewhere. So yeah, some people don't like the box. I haven't decided myself yet what I think of the physical box. But we also got some player cards in this box. Let's see. We got 10 new player cards, and today I will be covering them. So let's just jump right into it. So we got 10 new cards. All of them are upgrades of cards from the core set. And I won't go through them one by one as I usually do. Instead, I will cover all the talent cards first, and then I'll cover the remaining ones. So if you don't know, the talent cards are 5 cards we got in the core set. Each faction got one. They all cost 2. They're all assets, and they have this same text where you spend 1 resource and you boost 1 stat. The Guardian got like will and combat, and yeah, and so on. So now we got upgraded versions for them. So physical training cost now. So they all also function the same way in the upgrade. So I won't read them out loud, everyone, but I'll read physical training. So it's a 0 cost asset now for 2 XP. Has 2 willpower and 2 combat, and that's the same text where you spend 1 resource to boost 1 stat. So you see. It costs 2 less. It gets 1 more Wilcon icon of both the Wilcon. Get 1 more icon in both of the stats, but the text is the same. So essentially, if you want to pitch it for a test, it's a bit better, and you don't have to pay 2 resources up front. And the same formula applies to all of them. Hyper awareness now costs 0 and 4 icons instead of 2. So, do you want to run these upgraded talents? Maybe. The biggest problem I felt with there are 2 main problems with the core talents. I would say. And it's the upfront cost of 2 resources, which is very annoying. That has been eliminated now, since you don't pay anything. And the fact that we have the permanent cards, which are super good. Like in the Guardian we have Key 9. And sure, they boost different stats, and they boost with different exchange rate, but the fact is you will never have to draw for the permanents because you'll start with them in play, compared to these ones you might not even see. And sure, that argument is true for all cards which cost XP, that you may not see them, but now when we have another not solution but another alternative to stats boosting, which is permanent compared to the talents ones. I guess these are talent as well, but it's you have to decide on which one you want to go. Some different things with these one. These cost 2 XP, all of them, which means that classes which can take investigators who can take secondary classes, because it's usually level 0 to 5 in one class and level 0 to 2 in another class, they can now splash these upgraded ones, and it might actually be good. Someone like let's see, someone like Skid could take physical training level 2. And I mean, saving 2 resources is quite good, because then you're 2 resources richer, which you can use to spend. Physical training is very good for Skid. He needs that combat boost compared to... yeah, and I mean, someone like Skid, there's nothing saying you can't run both physical training and streetwise. Because if you're running both, then you got this full set covered. You got intellect, agility, and you have willpower and combat from physical training. So if you can find the investigators who like their permanent and this new level 2 complement each other, they are that's probably very good to cover all 4 stats. It's important to know that the specific stat boosting isn't better than the core ones. So once you have it in play, it's the same as the core one. But I think that 2 resource up costs definitely make a change. Like hyper awareness probably has... it's competing with higher education, which is one of the best cards in the game. I would say, think a lot of people agree with that. But as I said, out of factions can take this. Roland could take it if he wants. He can take higher education. And someone like... I played a lot of Ursula lately, and I've noticed she's running low on cards. She doesn't usually have 5 cards, so if you're noticing that you're having trouble to trigger this, having 5 cards in your hand to trigger higher education, maybe you want to run hyper awareness level 2 instead. They are 1 XP cheaper compared to the permanent, which it's I mean, it's not a lot, but it's something to consider. Hard knocks, yeah, the one out of factions, Wendy probably doesn't like it too much, and Leo probably doesn't like it either, because they have better ways to deal with their primary stat, and the secondary doesn't help them. But someone like Jenny likes it. I noticed that Jenny can usually run these talents, because she's quite rich, and not having that 2 upfront cost is very good. Yeah, so I mean, I won't cover all of them in details, but the same principle applies to all of them. That you can, yeah, if you can like use the permanent combined with this one, that's probably very good. Yeah, and I mean, worst case, they all have 2 icons. That's super good. Okay, the permanent, that was the talents. Let's continue with our first non-talent card. This is Dynamite Blast. It's a Guardian event, cost 4 and 2 XP. It's a willpower and combat icon, and it reads: choose either your location or a connecting location. Deal 3 damage to each enemy and to each investigator at the location. This action does not provoke attack of opportunity. And if you remember, the Dynamite Blast from the core set looks like this. Cost 5, as just a willpower icon. And this do trigger attack of opportunity, which I think a lot of people play wrong. Because it's intuitive that it shouldn't. But so let's say you're engaged with 2 enemies, and you want to throw the Dynamite Blast at the ground, because you're fine with taking 3 damage from it. What's actually happened with the core one is that before you even can throw it, these 2 enemies will hit you, maybe for, I don't know, 3 damage. And then the Dynamite Blast will hit you for additional 3 damage. That would be like 6 damage, and you probably will die from that. But the old one doesn't trigger attack of opportunity. And this is mostly used when you want to throw the dynamite at your own, I assume. Yeah, so for 2 XP, we get 1 resource cheaper and this attack of opportunity, which is okay. I mean, it's not the best effect. I think the best effect is actually that it costs 1 cheaper. Gardeners are quite poor, so saving every resources can be important actually. Unsure Dynamite Blast. If you're running it, you probably want to stick it to the plan, so you have like a reasonable way to get it. I'm just gonna take a sip of my potion cup. Yeah, so that's Dynamite Blast. We also got Barricade, level 3 or 3 XP. It has a willpower, intellect, and agility icon. Now costs 0. Insight and tactic, and reads attached to your location. Non-elite enemies cannot move in or spawn at the attached location. Each time an enemy would spawn at the attached location, spawn at a connecting location if able instead. And when you leave this location, discard Barricade, or when anyone leaves. And if we compare to the core one, it has the same icons. It costs the same in resources, but this just prevents non-elite enemies from moving into your location, where this prevents non-elite enemies to move in or even spawn. So it pushes them away. And that's definitely better. Definitely. You could do something like you're playing main with analyzing mine, committing skill tests, so you're just locked up in maybe a high shroud location, so you know it will take some time to get those clues. So you lock yourself in there. You have an analytic mind, maybe you have in the known, so you can investigate other locations. And then definitely Barricade is good. You don't want enemies to come in and wreck your day. And I mean, sure, this is quite a heavy setup, but even if you, let's say you're playing a two or three player game, investigators, and there's 6 or 8 clues at the location, and you know it'll probably take you 2 or 3 turns to get them all, then barricading yourself in could be good, so no enemy spawns on you while you're investigating, because you probably can't deal with them. Because the thing is, with Barricade, you don't have to, you don't have to sit at a location for like 5 or 6 turns to be worth it. Even if you sit at a location for like 1 or 2 turns, it's probably worth it. Assuming you draw enemies, but it costs 3 XP, which is a bit much. I would probably prefer it if it cost like 2 resources and was fast or something like that, because the fact that it takes an action probably will be a bit annoying to play with it. Another option to consider is the Disc of Itsama, which costs 2 XP and basically kills an enemy when it spawns on you. You discard it, but it's the same effect. And the discs follow you around, so yeah, depending on what build you do, maybe consider the disc instead. Barricade is still a bit weird. If you have a hunting enemy following you, barricading yourself could be good, but you can't move away later. Okay, let's continue. This is Hot Streak. Cost 5 resources, 2 XP, 1 willpower icon, and you gain 10 resources. If we compare it to the core one, it costs 4 XP, you pay 3, and you gain 7. The wild has also become willpower, so it's actually lost some power in that. So the core one, you get 7 resources. This one, you get 5 resources. Nope, wrong card. We also have emergency cash from every deck ever almost, which costs 0 and you gain 3. So here you gain 3, 5, and 7. The big thing about this one is that you have to have 5 resources for it to be played, which makes it kind of hard. Usually the thing is, if you have this in your opening hand, it's very sweet. Then you get 5 resources. But the thing is, if you're like at 1 or 2 resources, you won't be able to play Hot Streak for a while. Then Emergency Cash is better because you can play that from any amount of money. So I would much have preferred if this maybe cost like 2 and you get 7 resources. You would have gained the same amount, but the threshold to be able to play it would be much lower. And I guess they did this to like balance it. I mean, I haven't even tested it yet, so what do I know? But even though it costs 5, if you can work around that, getting 5 resources, good. There are 2 ways to see it. For people who can take the level 4, instead of just buying one level 4, it's probably better to buy 2 level 2s and then upgrading them to level 4. Someone like Sefina, you want those hot streak under her, so having 2 like after the first scenario definitely increase the chance of having 1 at least in your opening hand, so you can paint it later. And people like Leo and Wendy, who can take rogue cards as their secondary, now can take this one. And I mean, Leo's Guardian, so Leo can be pretty poor with all those allies. So having a chance to gain 5 resources in the beginning, probably good. I tried it in one Leo deck now when I played the Return to Zealot, but I never drew it, so I can't really say how it worked. But I mean, yeah, we'll see. I mean, if you're playing lots of events on Wendy, she probably will be quite poor. Yeah, let's continue. We're going quite speedy today. 17 minutes in. Yeah, 20 minutes will probably be good. So this is the Mystic card, Mindwipe. It's a spell, cost 1 to play, 3 XP, and a will and combat icon, and reads fast. Play after a phase begins. Choose a non-elite enemy in your location. Until the end of the round, reduce the chosen enemy's damage and horror value by 1. And treat the printed text box as it were blank. And we'll look at the core Mindwipe, and it basically have the same text. It costs 1 instead of 3 XP, and it doesn't reduce the damage and horror value by 1. So you're paying 2 XP to save yourself 1 damage and 1 horror. Because, I mean, that's it, right? I'm not missing anything. That's the only difference between the upgraded. Yeah, that's the only thing. Yeah, sure, this lasts until the end of the round compared to this, which only lasts until the end of the phase. But that's basically because it has to need to be on the end of round to make the damage and horror be worth anything. So, I mean, Mindwipe was such a situational card, and the level 3 is definitely that too. It's not even, I wouldn't say it's better, because yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's the point of this card. A very hard time. Someone mentioned, I don't know, here, like in Forgotten Age, Mindwipe can help you with vengeance enemies. And I mean, there's stuff in There are a lot of stuff in the Forgotten Age which checks like how much vengeance you have and stuff like that, or just enemy with vengeance. So blanking them is good. But I mean, the first Mindwipe works for that too. So paying 2 XP to reduce the damage and horror by 1. It's not 2-1, because that might have been better. So no, I don't understand this card. Please tell me if I'm missing something. I might miss something I'm not realizing. Maybe it's a super good card and I'm just not seeing it. Okay, let's continue. This is Rabbit Foot. It's the Survivor card. It's an asset, has a wild icon. Asset, cost 1 and 3 XP. Takes up the relic slot and reads: after you fail a skill test, exhaust Rabbit Foot. Search the top X cards of your deck for a card, draw it, and shuffle the remaining cards into your deck. X is the amount you failed by. And we know that the Rabbit Foot from the core one was when you failed a skill test, you drew 1 card. It's 3 XP more, which for Survivor isn't the worst. They usually, especially at the end of the campaign, don't really know what to spend their XP on, because I mean 3 is their most expensive card for now at least. It costs the same and would basically have the same effect. You fail a skill test and you get 1 card richer. But the thing is, now you get to filter what you're drawing for. So let's say you draw a Rotting Remain, my favorite example, but it's non-spoiler almost. So, and no, not that. Let's Univer. The Miskatonic University. This is a location from the core. If you're someone like Wendy and you have the Rabbit Foot level 3 and investigate this and you draw -2, so you fail by 3. No biggie, sure, you didn't get the clue, but you get to look at the top 3 cards and choose one of them. So if you're going to draw, if you have the Rabbit Foot, you might want to do an investigation that you know you're going to fail, just to filter your draw. It's a very interesting card. I think it's very good. It lets you look for cards, help you look for cards. And I mean, you're going to fail tests. That's what we do in this game. You fail, not all of the tests obviously, but you fail a lot of them. And some tests it's, you know, you're going to fail them even before you have pulled the token. Like an encounter card you can't handle. Something like, I don't know, any cards that test combat, any encounter cards, but yeah, something when they have to test combat in, for example, then you know she will fail by probably the whole test. So then she maybe get to look at four cards. Currently only the survivors can take this card and Lola, but let's not go in there. It's a cool card. It's probably the best, probably the only filter draw. We have Eureka and Book of Lore, and this probably will trigger like that, but it's actionless also. I think it's good. It's cool. I will definitely try it out in like a Joric deck or something maybe. Yeah. So that was the Return to Night of the Zealot. We got 10 cards, all upgraded versions of cards we have already seen. And it was fun. I played it also today, as I said. We will get the Boundary Beyond pretty soon, I think. Let's see, what was the status for it? Pre-order now. Okay, well, I don't know. But it feels like it's been quite some time since we got the last pack, like 2-3 weeks. So stay tuned on for that review. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and all that good. And until next time, good luck with those token pools.